Hello, and welcome to the Arts of Language podcast with Andrew Pudewa, founder of the Institute for Excellence in Writing, or as many like to say, IEW. Today, we are excited to present to you part 2 of the recording of when IEW celebrated its 25th birthday and where Andrew remembers the past and looks forward to the future. Enjoy!
So in 2011, more Californians followed. The Walkers relocated. Maria, our editor, her husband Vic, passed away unexpectedly. He was running the print shop at the time. It was a great loss and is still felt. Tim Lawless stood up and said, "Do you need someone to take that spot?" And again, I would never have imagined Tim to be the extraordinarily competent, dedicated, meticulous asset that he has become to us. And he's now director of all operations, and the print shop is much larger. And he does a whole lot of other stuff as well. We had the exhibitor retreat here in Oklahoma, and it was right around that time that Lee Bintz, who has a little business called The Home Scholar, she endorsed our products, our method from use for our own children. And she does a lot of coaching of people to work through transcripts and requirements and how to do what you want but call it what you need to, kind of thing. She would have liked to be here, but she also recorded a short message for us. So here's Lee Bintz.
Hi, I'm Lee Bintz, the Home Scholar, and I wanted to wish IEW a huge happy 25th birthday. I'm so excited for your birthday party. I wish I could be there. You know what? 3 years after IEW started, I actually started homeschooling my own children. A couple of years later, I met Julie Walker at a convention. She and I started working on projects together. Pretty sure we were 15 years old at that time because we are so young, right? We are ageless. So I started helping parents homeschool high school in 2006. And starting that time, Julie Walker and Andrew Pudewa and I have worked on various projects together. And I wanted to share with you today some really shocking things about Andrew Pudewa. It's going to take your breath away. I hope you're ready. First of all, the man is incredibly tall. Even when I make videos like this, I'm standing on a 4 or 6 inch riser because I'm so incredibly short. And when he and I stand side by side, I feel like a midget. The man is huge. Also, he always wears a suit everywhere I see him. I'm pretty sure I've heard reports that he wears the suit into the pool at the hotels when he's at convention. You can check me on that, but I'm sure that that's what I've heard. Also, he is hilarious in person, not just when he is speaking or when he's online, but you know, when my husband and I have had dinner with him, he really is hilarious like that all the time. I've never actually heard him laugh at or about a homeschool parent or a homeschool child, right? Which is pretty remarkable given some of the questions that you and I have asked him over the years, right? Also, he is genuine and kind all the time. And I would just like you to think for a moment, who does that, right? Andrew does. He once said something to me that was so incredibly nice that I've put it on all 40 books that I have available on Amazon. He's not taken it back, so I'm assuming he still means it, and it's still on all of my books. So thank you for that, Andrew. One last thing is that when I'm at a convention, if I hear the crowd roaring and they think something is hilarious, I'm always sure that it is Andrew Pudewa because he is really that funny. So knowing IEW for almost 25 years, I just wanted to say happy birthday and congratulations. I wish I could be there, and I just want to wish IEW and Andrew Pudewa the best wishes ever. Have a great day.
Well, I have 2 complaints, Lee, if you're watching. Number 1, the coolest grandma ever is my wife. But you can keep that if you change it like the coolest grandma ever in Washington State. The second thing is it sounded a little bit like a marketing ploy, like any one of my 40 books. I feel like I'm going to have to go buy a book and find out what it was I said. But. Well, we kept growing. We had to build on to the existing building. I thought 6,000 square feet would last forever. But in a relatively short time, we had to build another 4,000 square feet. And here you see an example of the type of large printer with Tim and Jeremiah, who's not here tonight but still works for us. And customer service room got filled up with cubicles and smiling happy girls. Kept getting awards, and I had known her for many years, but I finally kind of got to know her more when we invited her to be our guest speaker at the exhibitor retreat, which was in Williamsburg, Virginia that year. So Heidi St. John came, and she is just a lovely, lovely lady. Who's with her here? Yes, Melissa, you work with Heidi, and she would have liked to be here. She did perhaps give us one of the best little bits of advice, and she sat us down and said, you need affiliate program. Bloggers like me can make money by selling your stuff, and we would be happy to do it if you give us a little bit to help you sell. So it took us a couple years to get it up and rolling. There are technicalities involved. Cameron was up for it. But we do now have an affiliate program. I think we're up to about 60. I didn't check the checkbook too closely this time, but we definitely are growing in this area. So I thank Heidi St. John for kind of pushing us in that direction. I had the great privilege of going to Vancouver, teaching at her facility. It's Vancouver, Washington, and having dinner at her home and getting to know her even better. So she sent a little video message for us.
Hey you guys, it's Heidi St. John coming to you from my little neck of the woods in Battleground, Washington. I couldn't make it this weekend, so I tried to make this video as special as I could, and I've built a fire for you. You're welcome. A couple of things I want to say. First of all, congratulations to IEW on 25 years. I love your heart, Andrew Pudewa, and always have. I thought it'd be fun to share one of my favorite memories of you. There are so many of them, but my favorites have to be the first several years that I was out on the speaking circuit. And here's Andrew Pudewa, like, you know, he is just like this superstar in homeschooling and sort of this mystery man because your sense of humor kind of dry and everybody's trying to get to know you and I'm trying to get to know you. And I was just starting out speaking probably 15 years ago or so. And Andrew's, you know, the keynote speaker and I was the follower. I was the chaser. So there's the keynote speaker and then there's the chaser. So Andrew get like 1,500 people in a room and then I'd follow him and, you know, 1,500 people would leave and then 10 people would trickle back in and I'd have 10 people. And I'm trying to chase Andrew out of the room, you know, because I want to say, hi, my name's Heidi and I so appreciate you. And gosh, you're a legend in homeschooling. And he was always so gracious, you know, just kind of looking at me like, who is this crazy lady who's talking about romance? And then it got to be that Andrew started saying, hey, I don't like it when Heidi St. John is doing her romance workshop and I'm talking about English because the women want to go hear about romance. Right? Yeah, you right, Andrew. So we start having this sort of friendly little civil war about who's speaking about what and who's speaking opposite who. And over the years, I've had a chance to spend quite a bit of time with Andrew out on the road and seeing each other in passing. And I just have to say, Andrew, you are the real deal. Thoughtful and kind. My kids really love you, and you've been so kind to our family over the years. And I just want to say what a thrill it has been for me to see your business and IEW grow along with the influence and the ministry that God has given you. So even though I'm not there, I hope that you guys can feel the love all the way from Washington State that we have for you at IEW. So excited about what God's doing there and can't wait to see what's next. Again, I'm sorry that I'm not there. I know my assistant Melissa is there this weekend and it's her job to come and give every single one of you a hug on the neck for me. And we are just so thankful for you. Thankful for your team, for Julie and Laura and all of the fantastic people that work for you. And Andrew, I just want to send you a virtual hug, and I cannot wait to see you again. And I hope you guys have a fantastic time celebrating what God has done at IEW. There isn't anybody I can think of who deserves it more. Have a great time, everybody.
So podcasting started to become a thing. And in 2014, this woman, Sarah McKenzie, called me up out of the blue and said, "Would you be a guest on my podcast?" And I said, "Sure, I'll do anybody's podcast if it gets me publicity." So she said, "Oh, I better figure out how to do a podcast." And she's big now. She is very, very big. And one of the things that I had always hoped, I've done this talk, Nurturing Competent Communicators, hundreds of times. And every time I do it, I just wish that someone would go and teach that to all of the not homeschooling parents who desperately need to know. If you want to save America, read out loud to your children. That's one hope. If you want to save public schools, read out loud to your children. That's a hope. If you want to have, I had this passion, and how do I break out of my bubble? And so the fact that Sarah was able to do that has just been tremendously gratifying, because she now has an audience way bigger than just the homeschool world. And that is excellent. One of the, couple of the other things that happened during that time period was Julie and I were acutely aware that the old TWSS was dated in many ways. We needed to be able to stream it live because the death of the disc is right around the corner. So we rented a big studio in Dallas area and spent 4 days down there re-recording this. And after we're done, I thought, that is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I was just completely spent. But the product came out pretty well, and there were a lot of people involved. Jill was heavily involved in putting the revised seminar workbook together. And so it really was a team effort like nothing we'd done before. We established the instructor accreditation program to try and protect the integrity of people who were teaching, under the IEW name, so to speak. We were very blessed that Michael Walker was willing to leave his job at Walmart to come and make video and audio, and he was our first tech guy, wizard, and he's, of course, another case of becoming just absolutely invaluable providentially. And one of his first tasks was to get going on the podcasting thing. So Julie and I have done how many episodes?
Almost 200.
Almost 200. That's one a week. So 4 years, 200 episodes. We took a break over the last year. You'll learn why. But we're going to pick it up again. And then we established our 911 team, Julie mentioned earlier. So I was actually in Spokane 2 weeks ago. I had dinner with Sarah and her husband. She said she really wanted to be here, but she sent a video.
Happy.
Hold on. You've got to know, this woman has 6 children, right? She looks like she's 24 years old. I don't know, eternal youth or something. Anyway, her husband was a criminal investigator for the IRS, a gun-carrying criminal investigator, a forensic accountant. It was a great conversation. Catch me sometime. I'll tell you some of the stuff I learned. All right, here's Sarah.
Happy birthday, IEW. Sarah McKenzie here. I wish I could be there to celebrate with you. IEW has meant a lot to me and to the Read Aloud Revival. In fact, the fact that the Read Aloud Revival exists at all is in large part due to Andrew Pudewa and IEW. I'll tell you what, many years ago, a friend of mine heard Andrew speak at a conference, and she told me, "Sarah, you have got to hear his talk, Nurturing Competent Communicators." So she sent me a recording of it, and I listened to it twice in a row while cleaning my kitchen. I remember thinking, I was reading aloud to my kids, but if you've ever heard Andrew Pudewa talk, and I know you have, you know that at the end you're like, sign me up, I'll do whatever you're telling me to do. So in fact, after listening to Nurturing Competent Communicators, I started reading aloud a ton to my kids. And all of the things that Andrew promised would happen, happened. Their vocabulary increased, their reading comprehension increased, their enjoyment of stories increased, they started, being able to understand what they were reading better. And also some surprising things happened, like they started to bond more closely. We started having inside family jokes. It ended up just being our favorite part of the day. Well, fast forward several years, and I got a sort of impulsive idea to start a podcast, which I thought was just going to be a series of podcast episodes about reading aloud. And the first person I wanted to talk to was Andrew Pudewa, because Andrew had inspired such a read aloud culture in our own home. And that is the beginning of the Read Aloud Revival podcast. So I am so eternally grateful for all the wonderful people at IEW and for Andrew for being a wonderful light to the world. I wish I could be there with you all. Happy birthday.
So we kept growing and needed more space. We wanted to have a place that we could have more offices and also create a nice video studio. And so through, again, absolute providence, coincidence, and good bankers, we were able to buy this building. And so Hickey Park Baptist Church became the IEW Bixby campus. We also received some excellent additional out of the blue people. Nathan King calls up and says, "Someone thinks I should work for you." All right, drive down and talk to us. Man, we got him, we got his wife along with it. It was a very good deal. Sean Schmidgall is notable because he was the first of the Schmidgalls. We got him, and then we got a brother of him, and then we got another brother of him, and he's got a sister, and I got my eye on her. So either we get his sister, or maybe one of the unmarried Schmidgalls gets married, and I get a fourth Schmidgall somehow. But it just seems like we need 4 of them. But nevertheless, now I believe, Pam Barnhill, you had a friendship with Sarah Mackenzie. And you're the one that said, "Oh, you got to hear this talk." Well, we got in touch with you, and you have a lot of different things going on. What's your main website?
It's pambarnhill.com.
Okay, so pambarnhill.com. But there's a lot of things going on at pambarnhill.com. One of those is the Morning Basket, and I remember doing that one with you.
Yes.
I don't remember when, because there was no checks involved.
I don't remember the exact year either, because in my side of the story, I didn't enter this in 2016. Andrew actually entered my life back in about 2011 when my 14-year-old was 6. And I hope I'm doing the math right there. I went to the homeschool convention and I saw him speak for the very first time. And the very first talk I saw you do was teaching boys and other kids who would rather build forts all day. And it was awesome. It was just absolutely awesome. But it was nurturing competent communicators. And I can't remember if that was that year or a couple of years later that absolutely blew me away. It was like, this is just something that homeschool moms need to hear. There's so much value here. And so I went home and I told my friend about it. And she listened to it a couple of times and we started talking about it. And it really made such a huge impact. It was probably, outside of morning time, the thing that made the biggest impact on my homeschool was this idea of building these sophisticated language patterns with your kids by reading aloud and also by memorizing large bodies of work, mostly poems. And so now, at any given morning in our house, I'm sitting there and Andrew's voice comes from the computer and we're learning poems and we're doing spelling. And I have a little Andrew with my coffee each day as the kids go through their lessons. But I just want to say thank you so much, because one of the things I think IEW does really, really well, and I'm so happy that you do, is you equip and inspire homeschool moms that they can teach writing. I had the old blue version of TWSS, and actually I still have that version.
Could be an antique someday.
And used it to teach the kids at my co-op with the history-based writing programs. And homeschool moms don't like to teach writing. I know that because they keep forcing me to do it year after year at co-op. And one of the things that I really appreciate is having that structure there to use to help me do that. but you're just encouraging and equipping them to do it, and you're giving them the confidence that they need. And that's huge. It really, really is. So keep on doing what you're doing. And thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. I also had the privilege, I don't remember when, of meeting Christy Clover, and she was like so fun to stand near. She's just one of those people that like exudes this vibrant joy. Like, what is wrong with this woman? She's pathologically joyful. And we were having our retreat. It was the one here in Tulsa. And we like to bring in a speaker because our reps who do conventions often never go to hear talks. So we try to bring in someone. And so, was that 2 years ago? 2 years ago, Christy was kind enough to come and speak to our group. And I guess we liked you a lot. And you have the Simply Joyful podcast, which I have been on, your podcast, and it was joyful. It was. And actually, I'll tell you, her cup is my favorite cup, because I have one cup that says, ambition. Sometimes the journey of 1,000 miles ends very badly. And it basically has a salmon about to get chomped on by a grizzly bear. That's one cup I have, but I have to balance my life with Christy's cup. Simply Joyful. Christy, would you like to say a few words?
Well, you're leaving out the part about how we first truly met. And that was, Andrew was speaking to someone at an exhibit hall where we were both speaking, and he's talking to someone, and he's actually describing Sarah McKenzie, who I didn't know at that point. And it was so funny. He's like, she's got like 5 kids, and she's really outgoing, and he's going on and on and on. And so I just kind of jokingly said, oh, are you talking about me? And he's like, no, but who are you? So that's where we first officially met. And of course, I think, Lee, you had said it, like, I had the whole fangirl thing. I'm like, is Andrew Boudoir actually talking about me? And you weren't, but that's okay.
But it brought us together.
It did.
It's Providence.
It
Providence.
It was.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. But when I first started homeschooling, I am a writer. I love writing, but I remember being terrified to try to figure out how. I just do it. I don't know what I do. I just do it. So to have a curriculum like you guys have created here is just so valuable. So when we first started homeschooling, everyone told me IEW, just get IEW. And I went to my first homeschool convention. They're like, Andrew Boudoir's there. You go. If he is speaking, you just go to his sessions. And the last time we spoke together, and I can't remember if I had told the story to you or not, I had this mom and this husband and wife, and they were arguing in the middle of the exhibit hall. And she's like, can I stop you for a second? I was like, sure, of course. And she's like, okay, so the next time slot, Andrew Boudoir is speaking. You're going to his talk right now, aren't you? Because if Andrew Boudoir is speaking, you go to his talk. And I was like, that's true. I'm actually speaking right now, too, so I won't be there, but I wish I could be there. I'm like, but go. And she's like, do you want us to go to yours? I'm like, no, you need to go here, Andrew. But no, it has been such a joy and such a gift getting to know you and your whole IEW team. I mean, you are all just a treasure to me. And it has been neat to see I almost want to say underbelly of IEW, but to get to kind of know the behind the scenes of everything that happens here is such a gift, and it's such an honor to have gotten to come out and meet your team again, feel a little bit like family.
You are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
and happy
Thanks for coming.
25th birthday. You know, you can feel young again.
Yeah. Well, I figure, we're making such a big deal out of this that when my 60th birthday actually happens, it's just going to fly under the radar. Thank you. One of the things we I have always had a personal relationship with is the NCFCA, the National Christian Forensics and Communication Association. Several of my children did speech and debate, both in California and then the 2 youngest when we moved here to Oklahoma. And one of my good friends in the speech and debate world, Kim Cromer, took over kind of mid-project. We started with Teresa Hudson this idea of co-publishing a debate curriculum because they didn't want to be a publisher, but they wanted to have their own curriculum published. And so we did put together the policy debate, the Lincoln Douglas debate, and the speech. So we have the 3 products in completion. It's been a huge, huge help to them. Kim is always telling me, wow, this is making our life so much better, and the checks are good too. Kim's has a short message as well.
Hi, Andrew, Julie, and the rest of our IEW friends. It's Kim Cromer from NCFCA here. I wanted to take a moment and say congratulations on your 25th birthday. You all are great friends and business partners, and we are honored to work alongside you. Thank you for all that you do to educate the next generation. May the Lord bless you and the next 25 years. Happy birthday, IEW.
See, she knows public speaking. Short. So the other thing that happened in September 2017 was a top secret project began in this room. And it started, but it was secret, so we couldn't tell anybody about it. Because if we told anybody about it, it could undermine the whole deal. Because if people think, ooh, there's a new product coming, they stop buying the ones you have. Which then causes you to not make your bank loans, payments on time, and you go bankrupt. So we tried to keep this secret. Meanwhile, we're running around, adding more people to the video staff. Mark Lennon, my nephew, Justin Holmes, dropped out of the sky. Laura attached to him. 2 more Schmidgalls, my daughter Ellie. And we also had the opportunity to begin a partnership with Susan Eisen, who's here tonight. Susan, there she is. Susan has for many, many years had this program called Victus, Study Skills. And I got a hold of it. I think I met you at in Alaska, wasn't it? Memphis. I met you at a conference in Alaska. And okay, I'm glad at least. And so I bought this thing, and I taught through one book of her system to some young teenagers. And I thought, wow, this works. This has structure, and this has a bit of style. It fits. Susan was at that point saying, we're getting older, we need a long-term plan. I want to keep this thing going. It's been my baby for a while, but I don't know what. So we started by just taking 1 year of the several years she has available and getting it acceptable for larger, broader, more commercial distribution. And so we expect to continue on that pathway as we are able. We also added to our schools division staff. And as of this moment, I counted just recently, I didn't, Cameron did. We have sent materials or sold something to people in 74 different countries, from Afghanistan all the way to Zambia. And that just made me amazed, really, at what the synthesis of everything we've done and the impact it's had. But I want to finish this part of the evening by sharing with you something that had just particularly strong impact on me. I have for years been interested in prison ministry. I have not been able to get involved, but what I really thought was IEW would work in prison, in education. I even went about 10 years ago to the National Correctional Education Association convention in Northern Virginia, and I stayed there for 4 days trying to learn about the world of education in prisons, and discovered it's a very, very bleak circumstance. I mean, it is very, very bleak. But this couple, Jay and Maureen Richards, they've known me for quite a long time. Maureen has taught rhetoric and IEW in classical schools for some time in Michigan, but she and Jay were called to prison ministry, and so they were able to establish at the Muskegon Correctional Facility a program teaching literature, Christian worldview literature, and IEW writing. And Linda, you visited the prison twice, last year and just recently, and I had a chance to go in last May, and I will tell you it was one of the most profound moments of my life because I was able to meet with a small group of these men And each of them kind of shared a little bit about, their experience in learning from the Richards, both the literature, but the writing seemed to have a tremendous impact. In fact, one young man said that before he took their class, and he said he tried to get out of the class. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it. And they kept saying, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And he did. And he made it through. And he told me, he said, it was the first time in my life I could write a letter to anyone. And I wrote a letter to my fiance, and it touched her so deeply. And she's agreed to stay with me and wait for me when I get out. And she even moved closer to be near the prison so she could visit. When I left, they gave me this card, hand painted. They had to get special permission to give me this card because it's not within the rules for prisoners to give anything to visitors at all. And in the card, each of the men wrote a message, and I thought I would just read a couple. This man, Hassan Mohammed, is in prison for life, a murder. He killed someone. He was raised in a radical Islamic home, and he's just one of the most amazing, sweet people. He found the Lord in the prison through prison fellowship, yeah. And he wrote this: Sir, may grace and peace be upon you and your family. Thank you. You, the IEW program, and the IEW disciples have impacted my life and my sphere of influence beyond comprehension. The IEW magic reverberates endlessly, so thank you. IEW servant, Hassan A. Mohammed. Another man, he wrote this. He also shared this story with me. Mr. Pudawa, the structure and style I have been equipped with by IEW by way of Jay and Maureen Richards has not only been a blessing to me, but to my wife and son as well. My son will be graduating high school in a couple of weeks, due in large part to the writing skills I have learned and been able to pass on to him by way of email assistance and phone calls. So my family and I forever owe the Richards and IEW a debt of gratitude. And he said to me that he's so proud of his son because his son was starting to fail high school. And because he was able to help just coach him how to take notes and how to write a little bit, it changed his whole trajectory. He said he's very excited about when he will get out of prison in 7 years or so, teaching his grandchildren the IEW method. And there are more. I have to say I pretty much left that experience very, very impacted, and so grateful for the Richards and their perseverance in doing this year after year. We actually now have some of these men have become certified, right, through our accreditation system, instructors, and they are now teaching other inmates this program. And I wish we could have more and more people like the Richards. So if you have feel any calling to perhaps get into prison ministry or teaching, it's very possible. Every prison is different. It's not as possible everywhere as it is some places. But if it's something you would be called to, I could only hope and encourage you so much. So the Top Secret Project continued for 2 years, and hints were leaked.
We have worked long and hard on this project, haven't we, Andrew? And a lot of us have worked long and hard on this project, yes. And so, would you like to see what it is?
I would like to see it.
I have a present for you, complete with a bow.
It's heavy.
So, for all of you watching at home, for all of you here today, yes, I am Julie Walker. I am the Chief Marketing Officer for IEW. Tim is our Chief Operations Officer. And actually, Tim and I gave each other those titles because Andrew will not take Chief Executive Officer. He just wants to be director. But he said, you can be whatever you want. So we decided we should be, that. And so we are. And so we've been working very hard on this project. And Andrew, why don't you open it up and
All
Show us
right.
what's inside and then
Okay,
tell us a little
so
about the project.
First is this.
Yes, we call that the WITB flyer.
Do we not have enough of these letter combinations?
Of course not.
All right, what does it stand for?
What's in the box? Right?
Duh.
What's in the box? So what's in the box?
What's in the box?
Well, you have to hold it up and show us.
Okay, the first thing is another little card.
So let me this little card right here is called the Forever Streaming Card. And one of the challenges that we had with the Student Writing Intensive and the Student Intensive Continuation course, there were basically two challenges. One was, as Andrew mentioned, those recordings, those video courses were for a very specific purpose in a very short amount of time that Jill Pike expanded for us, 4 days or 9 weeks, right? And we sold tens of thousands of these, but they weren't comprehensive and they couldn't stream. Those videos were just too fat to get through the internet. And so this solves that problem, that little card right here. That and really expensive cameras that we have. So this is a forever streaming
So people
card.
buy this product, they will have access to the streaming video forever.
For as long
as they want it.
And this is a product that they would stream from our website, so you're not downloading it, you're just streaming it. We also did closed captioning. And just in case there are still a few of you out there, we are selling DVDs with this product as well. So DVDs or forever streaming. So
that's that.
Right.
All right. This is the
teacher's manual, and expanded significantly. Now you have your talk, the 4 deadly errors, and what is the deadly error that is most prevalent? I don't know. Just see what
one of the 4.
One of the 4. You get to
Unclear assignments?
unclear assignments. This teacher's manual and your video solves that.
Okay.
That's not it.
Oh, over expectation.
Well, this teacher's manual and your video course also solves that.
Oh, all right. Withholding help.
That's the one.
Ah.
So we want to be sure that every teacher is equipped. So we're helping teachers help their children be successful in writing. So that's what the teacher's manual.
That big, thick. And it has all the student pages in it.
Yep.
Right? So it's like the teacher book for the history-based.
Right.
Theme-based.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
All right. And
And the student binder with, of
Jack.
course, our favorite
With Jack.
kid. Maybe not our favorite, but certainly the most photogenic kid in this class, Jack. And inside the binder is all the student handouts. And so teachers or teaching parents, as you hand out the class papers, they can reach in the student packet and they can pass out the student pages as well. So
just like on the video.
super easy to follow, easy to use. And we also have added, you'll see that there's several boxes here. What you have is the thin box.
I want a thick one.
Okay, this is like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. You ready? Do you want the little one? The one that's just right? The middle-sized one? The middle-sized one, we call this the plus one because it has plus grammar in there. So that's the Fix-It grammar. Yep, one year Fix-It with the teacher book and the student book already printed for you. And here is the big one. I'm going to let you hold that. And what's inside there, this is our premiere box, and inside there, there's the DVDs. There's the DVDs, in case you want to
Just
see.
tell
They're
them
real.
what's in here.
The teacher training course
Oh, yeah.
as well.
So it includes the teaching, writing, structure, and stuff.
Correct.
Okay. Now, what about people who've already bought the student intensive or the continuation course? They're going to feel out of luck. Like, they bought that, and now there's the Ferrari.
So if any of our families are thinking that, they don't know you very well. They don't know how generous you are. So we do have an upgrade program. So anybody who is interested in upgrading their student writing intensive or the continuation course, IEW.com/upgrade gives you how to upgrade. But don't do it too soon. Finish the course that you're on, because the truth is, we barely got year 1 level A done. And we're working on level B. By level C, we will have 2 years done
of all A, B, and C in time for the next academic year. So we've got some time there.
I've been trying to estimate 1 hour of video when you shoot it requires how many hours of post-production between editing and vetting and all the video guys and the captioning. I'm guessing it's got to be like 12 to 15 to 1.
So if you count all of our curriculum team as
Right.
well, so
Uh-huh.
they helped to put the curriculum together under Denise Kelly's leadership, wow, 12 to 15 to 1 is probably right.
Is that about it? So the math is frightening because when we started, the plan was to record 3 1.5 to 2 hour classes every Tuesday for 24 weeks for 2 years, which equals 144 1.5 to 2 hour classes.
And 144 minimally jokes that Andrew tells.
That's right.
Before every class.
I have to do a different joke, at least one joke at the start of every single one of these. So I need to talk to you about that joke. But I think what I might do is extract all the jokes, put them in a book, and then get that on Amazon. Pudawa joke book. That could outstrip everything in sales. But we knew that we had to create completely original source text. Everything, copyright free, very well researched, all the way down to the point where someone was checking my pronunciation as I read every source text. We had to have a live audience because that's part of the power of the products is that live audience. And we had to have a place to do it. So there was a lot of challenge here. We needed 12 kids plus 3 extras, so 15 kids times 3. So I had to recruit 45 kids and their moms who were willing to do whatever we would say. And they came in, and there's like cameras everywhere. And they're little kids, they're a little bit nervous and shy. But pretty quickly they figured it out. They're half student, half actor. Because we had to do some serious retakes. We even had to completely redo a class a couple times. And what I'm really looking for, maybe we could put this with the joke book, the outtakes. Yes.
We are working on a blooper reel.
Blooper reel.
Andrew Parawedding isn't going to be in there.
And we tried to put as much as you could in a real class with door tests and kids standing at the board and talking from the keyword outlines and everything. And one of the things that I have always suggested for teachers to do is a before and after. So give your kids a prompt at the beginning of the year, throw it in a file, don't even look at it, and then teach through the 9 units, structure and style, And at the end of the year, give them the same prompt, no help, pull the ones out of the box and compare. And so we did that, and it was quite remarkable, some of the changes. And of course, I got to know these kids very well, and they got to know me pretty well. So do we want to show them?
Yeah, I think you mentioned this. I think the thing that we were both surprised about was the results.
Yes.
We started off the beginning of the year with kids who certainly couldn't write.
Barely a sentence.
But could hardly even read in some cases.
Yeah.
And yet they loved it. They loved you, and their parents, of course, so appreciated you being the writing teacher. So yeah, we do have a video.
Because we need to sell a lot of these things, because there is a lot of investment here. We had a wonderful video company, Shade Tree Productions, come and produce a little promo for us here.
This is a world premiere. No one's ever seen this before, except for maybe me.
This is the best thing that we've ever done. It is the most comprehensive. It is the most certain to transform even the most reluctant writer and to supercharge the most talented writer.
I was completely lost, and I had no idea where to start. It was like, do it, just write, pull out the paper, put the pen down, and do. And I couldn't explain it any better than that.
Do you start teaching them how to write a paragraph? Do you start teaching them how to write back a letter to grandma?
For me, it was really important because English is not my first language, so I wanted my kids to have the best education Any writing I had ever done was just based off my own understanding.
Why do I have to do it? I hate it, and I never want to do this again.
I was really not very good at writing before, but now I can really write pretty well.
I never felt like I was good at writing. When I went to college, every class I had, there was a paper to write, and it was overwhelming for me because I was not prepared for that.
We have multiple children, and so that compounds the difficulty.
I didn't have the tools to coach him to become a better writer and to stop the arguing. So then I met Andrew Pudewa in the Institute for Excellence in Writing. The Teaching Writing Structure and Style course was a course that I took, and it was like an epiphany. This is so easy. Now I get it.
IEW just opened some things up to him, gave him some organization, and helped him to start liking it. By the time he got to the end of level B, he was quite loving it.
It's not something I have to fight him on anymore.
I was lucky enough to have a lot of friends that have done IEW. They were like, yeah, you need to do IEW, that's the best.
And it totally revolutionized the way we write. Completely changed my writing ability, and I wish I'd had it in college. This would have made writing so much easier. It's like a cakewalk. It's amazing. It's great.
The main thing I learned that probably helps me the most in my writing is probably how to make an outline. It's easy because you can plan what to do first.
It's a lot more fun.
My son adores Andrew.
He says, broccoli, 49 cents a pound.
I love Mr. Pudewa. He's really funny, and he's really good at teaching.
So, of course, the fox is like, I see the food.
Yeah, he's fun to learn from, and it's not just for my kids to learn from him, it's also for me because I'm not like, falling asleep.
But we have tried a couple of other writing programs, which still made it too difficult for them to really understand and feel comfortable with writing. IEW has totally changed that.
There's no guessing, no trying to figure anything out on your own.
It's made my life so much easier with all 3 kids.
It gives you exactly what to do and when, and it lays it out very clearly. So you just follow these units, follow these steps, and guides you the whole way. Just watch the video and let Andrew Pudewa do all the work.
Go for it. You will not look back and regret the experience at all. I mean, it's so worth it. Don't hesitate, do it.
It works. I know it works. So why not give it a try? So I would say thank you to all of you, but it doesn't really make sense for me to say thank you to all of you from all of us because we are us. Every one of you is here because you're part of what IEW is. And I might have missed a name here or there, but that's a list of almost everyone who's been part of what we've done in 25 years. Many have come and left, a few are deceased, but God bless us, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, you can subscribe to this podcast in iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, or just visit us each week at iew.com/podcast. Until then, on behalf of Andrew Pudewa and the team at IEW, I thank you for allowing us to partner with you on your journey toward better listening, speaking, reading, writing, and thinking.